All right, I'm going to call to order this meeting of the Monroe County Board of Commissioners. It's April 28th, 2021, and we will begin with a public statement read by Commissioner Jones.
We, the Monroe County Board of Commissioners, renew our commitment to welcome and protect the rights of all people, regardless of age, race, color, creed, disability, sexual orientation, gender identity, marital status, economic status, and national origin. And we affirm the right of every person to live peacefully and without fear, and we will fight and resist at every step discrimination and harmful policies, whatever their source. We also stand in support of our county public school systems, both RBB and MCCSC.
Thank you so much. I'm going to make a motion that we amend our agenda to add 2 items. So item I is agreements for appraisal and the total amount of $5,150. And the second item is J, and that is the 2021 ordinance 2021-18 regarding Monroe County local health order regarding COVID-19.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Any comments, any other additions to our agenda?
Nope.
And I will note for the record that all 3 of us are present today. It's been that kind of day. Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on adding agenda items I and J?
Commissioner Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Commissioner Giffens.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
All right, thank you so much. And now we move on to department updates. Our first will come from Ms. Caudle in the health department. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Great. How are you today?
Good, good. Enjoying this. Well, I think it's going to rain today, right? But nice weather we've been having. I like the warmer temperatures. And just a few things to kind of update you on. Lots of it has been happening in the last couple of weeks. I think everybody is probably aware that Johnson & Johnson vaccine is available again. We will begin using that again as well. It does simply come with a warning that women younger than the age of 50 should be aware of a slightly increased risk for rare but serious blood clots. The chance of this occurring is very remote, but if someone does receive the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, they should seek medical attention right away if they have any of the following symptoms. So a severe or persistent headache or blurred vision, shortness of breath, chest pain, leg swelling, persistent abdominal pain, or easy bruising or tiny blood spots under the skin beyond the site of injection. So these are very rare occurrences. We've talked about this before. The system of monitoring for adverse reactions works, and this is why they were able to pause, study what was going on, and then weigh the benefit versus the risk. So we do want people to be aware of that slight increase in risk, but know that the vaccines are safe. These blood clots are only associated for us with the Johnson & Johnson. They are not associated with the Moderna or the Pfizer vaccine. We do encourage people to get that vaccination. Our vaccination rates are continuing to increase. We're happy about that, but we know that even locally, but across the nation, that interest is waning a little bit. We know that that sometimes happens. There's an initial push and then we kind of get comfortable, but we do need people to continue to be vaccinated. Currently in Indiana, there have been over almost 2 million people, about 1 750,000 people have been fully vaccinated at this point. More than 4 million doses of vaccine have been distributed. In Monroe County, about 30% of our eligible population has been vaccinated, and about 45.5% have received their first dose. So, those are not fabulous numbers, but they are not bad numbers, and they're pretty consistent with what we're seeing in the state and the nation. So we want to encourage people to make those appointments. There are lots of places you can get that vaccine, and we encourage you to schedule an appointment. And now most places you can also walk in. Also, in terms of reducing barriers, there is a ride option, and there has been some, but there is now, if you have an appointment at one of the state-funded sites, so for us locally, that would be the Med Arts building, it would be our new community site at IU Assembly Hall. You can call 211, and they can, if you have an appointment, they will verify that, and then they will make arrangements to get you a voucher for Uber up to $35 each way. So you can get a ride to and from that appointment, but you do need to call 211. Again, they will verify that you do have an appointment. That ride will not, you have to be dropped or picked up within a quarter mile of that vaccine site, and that is to ensure that that's not being abused. So we encourage, again, people to make those appointments, and if you need assistance with a ride, there's a way to get it. At the state-hosted vaccine sites, one way that you would know that is if you are on that ZOTAC, that registration system for your appointment, it will say VAX at the end. So IU Assembly Hall, VAX, and you'll know that that's a state-funded site. So I want to encourage that with the rides. The State Health Department is offering a family day at Indiana Motor Speedway on the 30th of this month. So anyone 16 and older, they're encouraging families to drive up and all be vaccinated together if they have not been. Another addition to the registration system is that it is now available in 3 languages, including Spanish. So again, trying to reduce the barriers for people needing to make appointments. There is certainly lots of new guidance that's coming out. Summer camp guidance has come out. We know that additional guidance will be forthcoming. And there's certainly new guidance, updated guidance, really about when you are fully vaccinated, what additional things you can do. So again, the more that we want to get back to what we see as our routine activities, being vaccinated gets you there closer. And as a community, it gets us there when we are all vaccinated, when we have a high level of that. So we will be we're looking at the regulations anyway, but we will be looking at the CDC updated guidance and our regulations and determining what changes are needed in that. And we are looking at the data to see what additional changes may be warranted in terms of the regulations as well. The board does meet on Tuesday to review those regulations. There is a variant dashboard on the CDC website for anybody that's not seen that. I think it's relatively new, but just wanted to point that out. And that's part of the surveillance that's being done around variants. I do want to keep people to keep in mind that not every sample is checked for the variants. This is part of a program where you do some random sampling so that you kind of know what's out there. We know that B117 is the predominant strain right now, but there are others in Indiana and the United States. So again, vaccine helps us fight these variants. The more that we are vaccinated, the greater the chance that we stop these mutations or slow them down. So I want to encourage, again, everybody to be vaccinated. and that we are looking at the case data. It is encouraging. Our numbers are coming down. We are still in yellow this week. We are just over 100 cases per 100,000. So that does keep us in that yellow advisory for another week. And hopefully we will be under 100 cases per 100,000 next week when I come before you. But the encouraging thing is that the numbers are starting to come down and our vaccination rates are going up. And that is the key to those numbers continuing to go down.
Awesome. Thank you so much, as always, for great information and updates. Comments, questions, Commissioner Jones?
Just that it's great to hear that the numbers are improving.
Commissioner Giffens?
I was having a conversation recently with someone who was talking about the speed with which the vaccines were developed. And I was a little bit shocked to hear somebody say that, because the development, what's gone into the development of these mRNA vaccines has been in the works for 20 years. We're lucky that that kind of research had been done or has been done for the last 20 years. We would not be where we are today without that.
Absolutely. And part of the thing that slows these trials is also getting people to participate. And, with the pandemic, people stepped up to the plate, and you need a certain number of people to participate. We got those individuals, and they started, making vaccine, taking a chance on making vaccine that might have to get tossed out, with the hope that it did not. And that is why it was available to ship out once this emergency use authorization was achieved. Had they not worked on this simultaneously, we would still be waiting for vaccine development.
Yeah, great point. There was a lot of risk involved in that decision, but it all worked out well. And when is the next health board meeting? Do you happen to have that handy?
Yes, it is this coming Tuesday. I believe that's May 4th, and it is at 4:30.
Great.
And it should be on the website, so anybody can get the link to that.
Excellent. For those who are interested in keeping up to date with the most current information, besides checking in here every week, the health board meeting will be on, I can't believe next week is May. All right. Thank you. And we will now turn to Ms. Allison Moore, Emergency Management.
Good morning. Thanks for having me today. I wanted to let you know that we are still in April, so we have those 2 blood drives that I've been pushing this month. It's this Thursday and Friday, so we finally made it towards the end of the month. And there are 4 spots open on Thursday. I want to give a shout out to those times, and if that time might work for you, you can hop to the redcross.org website to make an appointment. The time slots that they still have available for Thursday are 11:45, noon, 12:45, and 1:45. And then on Friday, they have 3 spots still open, and those time slots are at 2:30, 3:15, 2:30, 3:15, 3:30, and I just caught myself. There's also a 6:15. So they have 4 spots open there on Friday. So if any of those time slots work for you, normally by this late in the game, we have all those spots filled. And so it's kind of been a roller coaster. I was real worried at the beginning of the month. We had kind of caught up last week, but now we're right here at it. We don't have every spot filled. And we've had every spot filled since we started these drives last March. So I am encouraging 7 individuals in our county to make a spot, make an appointment for one of those spots, and be able to make those donations the next couple days this week, if that's something that you can and wish to do. We do appreciate the Convention Center for hosting those blood drives for us, and of course the Red Cross for the wonderful collaboration that they serve. So with us, it's wonderful. We do have rain coming, and so it kind of is going to tie in with our monthly prevention, which is flooding. We are due to get about 1/2 of an inch starting after 2 o'clock today. possibly an inch to 2 inches while we're all sleeping through the night, and then another possible inch tomorrow. So we could potentially have up to about 3.5 inches of rain over the next couple days, which will, of course, indicate that we are going to have some flash flooding. So in week 1, I indicated that we should turn around and don't drown, and that will be very much needed to remind everybody not to do that these next couple days, as there will be some of those roads that the water overpasses, and it will take time for that water to go down. So make sure that you use precautions and safety, and make sure that you give yourself enough time to go separate routes if needed. We do have those sandbags available for any individual that might need empty sandbags to get filled, or up to 5 if you are a county resident that might need those in the next couple days. You're welcome to give our office a call at 812-349-2546, and we can make those arrangements for you. And then my statement for this week is, if you have a culvert in your driveway, or a culvert that's into your yard, we encourage you to make sure that you're cleaning those out, especially if it's your responsibility. And if it's on the county right away, let us know if your culvert is, of course, really backed up, because that will, of course, help with a lot of our flooding if we can keep those culverts cleaned out. That's all I have for you this morning.
Right. Thank you, Ms. Moore. And yes, it's very appropriate to be talking about, unfortunately, flash flooding today. Comments, questions, Commissioner Jones?
Yeah, just that at this time of year, checking on your culverts can be or street drains, if you have those, can be particularly important, because as people are putting down fresh mulch, it frequently gets washed off into the road and will clog up the culverts. So check them before it rains.
Yeah, very good point, Commissioner Jones. Thank you.
Commissioner Giffens?
Okay, so I'm wearing my Red Cross t-shirt today
Woo!
to support what's going on. They gave this to me last time I donated blood. I can't donate this week because it hasn't been 8 weeks since the last time I donated, but I fully support this program. I think we have made a real difference with this in our community.
I love that. Thank you so much. And thank you so much you have been very devoted to making the contributions every time that you can. And it says a lot about your character, and I greatly appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Excellent. And now on to Ms. Ridge. Good morning.
Morning. So we are doing our normal operations of mowing, street sweeping, patching, paving, getting roads ready for paving. We did get Ratliff Road done in the last week, and now the crew, the contractor, is up working on Old 37 North and Anderson Road. So we encourage people to stay away from those areas, and if you do have to go through there, to proceed with caution, because there's flaggers, there's people working in the roadway. So yeah, it's our just starting our busy time. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
All right, thank you so much. Comments, questions, Commissioner Jones?
Yeah, just Monday, I guess, I drove Ratliff Road, and it is very, very changed. It's really nice now. It made a big difference.
Yeah, it did. It'll be striped. I know a lot of people will call in now, especially when it rains and it's dark and everything, but part of the project was to have the striping done, but you have to wait for that next crew to come in and be able to do that. So it did turn out really nice. Corey Lane was completed also.
Excellent. Comments, questions, Commissioner Giffens?
Yeah, I was out on Morris Creek Road last week and noticed that it had been patched, and your guys are out there. It's clear.
They're everywhere. They are definitely staying busy. So
For sure, there's a lot to do, and I know that with the storm, gusty winds, potentially lots of rain, that the crews will be out again taking care of business. But just a reminder, if you would, for folks who want to report a road hazard or a pothole.
sure, they can go to the county website and they can report any type of hazard on there, and it will be sent directly to our emails. They can also call 812-825-5355, and they could report it to Sean, our dispatcher, and then we put it into our system as a work request. We investigate it, and then we'll schedule it for when we have a crew in that area. So many ways that you can do it. We also have our weekly email that goes out on Thursdays afternoon for weekly closings or upcoming road work that's going to happen in the upcoming week. So you are able to sign up for that email, and you would be notified of what work is going on in the county.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And we will speak with you again very soon with our other agenda items. Let's see if there's any other department updates for anyone on our call. Back over there, I don't see any. And with that, we will now move on to public comment. This is for items that are not on our agenda. And just like our public comment period for specific agenda items, each person is limited to 3 minutes. At 2 minutes and 30 seconds, you will hear a tone. And when you hear that tone, that's so good. Michelle, you're amazing. When you hear that tone, that means you have 30 seconds left to wrap up your ideas and thoughts and to finish your comment. And with that, let's see, we have Mr. Shelton first up. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jim Shelton with the Chamber, but speaking again on behalf of Court-Appointed Special Advocates, or CASAs. Want to remind the public that we do need more people to volunteer. The last number I saw, we had 41 children waiting for a CASA. The director, Kristen Duche, just put out an email to existing CASAs this week asking us to consider perhaps taking on another case because the wait list is getting so long. So this would be a great opportunity for people. The next training session will be June 7th through the 30th. It'll be virtual. It'll be Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings from 5:30 to 8:30. And you can go to monroecountycasa.org, click on the volunteer link, and find out more details that you might need. You can also fill out or download the application. And then in anticipation of this and in preparation, we're going to have a lunch and learn with CASA on May 11th. So on May 11th at noon, there'll be an hour-long opportunity for you to drop in and visit with some CASA volunteers and some CASA staff and have any of your concerns or questions about what's it really like to be a CASA answered. You can go to, on Facebook, go to Monroe County CASA, and you'll find a link on the left side. As you scroll down, there'll be an events list, and you can click on that and you'll find the Zoom link for the meeting. So public, please think about doing that. We need more people to help these children whose parents are in the juvenile justice system because they've abused or neglected them, to help advocate for the children as well as to be the eyes and ears of the court. And as I've said, and as Judge Galvin says, yes, it's hard, but it's a very rewarding and very meaningful volunteer opportunity. So thank you for the opportunity to spread that word.
All right, thank you, Mr. Shelton. Let's see if there's anyone else that wishes to offer public comment on an item not on our agenda. I do not see any. And so we will move on to item 5, please.
Move approval of the minutes for April 21st, 2021.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments, edits, corrections?
I sent
Ms.
one Scrivener's error. That's
Okay,
all.
thank you. Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the approval of minutes, April 21st, 2021?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
All right, thank you so much. And move on to the next item, please.
Move approval of the claims docket, accounts payable, April 28th, 2021.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second, and we have Mr. Miller joining us. Please tell us all about it.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'll be happy to do so. The total for AP claims was $69,546.44. The most notable claim was in the amount of $553,334.80 to NDOT for Monroe County match for the Curry Pike, Woodyard Road, and Smith Pike project. And finally, $122,555 was for the Monroe County Fair Association for the 2021 Fairgrounds appropriation.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Miller. Comments, questions, Commissioner Jones?
No.
Commissioner Githens?
How's your assistant?
Doing well, just turned 1 month old yesterday, so he's catching up on some sleep. Getting big.
That's awesome. Is anybody, let's see if anybody has any public comment on this item. Just simply raise your hand at the bottom of the Zoom screen. You can hear the woodpecker outside my window. All right. Seeing none, we'll come back. Thank you, Mr. Miller. We will come back for a vote on the approval of the claims docket, accounts payable April 28th, 2021.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved 3-0.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And now we will move on to new business.
Move to approve Bloomington Seal Coating and Paving Agreement, Fund Name County General, Fund Number 1000, in the amount of $8,450.
Second?
We have a motion and a second, and we have Ms. Whitmer joining us. Parks and Recreation. Good morning.
Yes, the Park Board would like to ask the commissioners to approve the $8,450 service agreement with Bloomington Seal Coating and Paving. They've been talking about this for 2 months, and they even sent a Park Board member who in his other life was a asphalt contractor of some sort. So they believe this is a very fair price to start working on the potholes at Cars Farm Park.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Comments, questions, Commissioner Jones?
No.
Commissioner Githens?
No, thanks for working on this.
It'll be great to get this done as the weather warms up. Good timing. Let's see if there's any public comment on this item. You just simply raise your hand at the bottom of the Zoom screen. And seeing none, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the Bloomington Seal Coating and Paving Agreement?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved 3-0.
Okay. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Next item, please.
Move to approve BTEC Fire and Security Services Agreement, Fund Name County General, Fund Number 1000-36012-0161, in the amount of $17,142.
Second?
We have a motion and a second, and there are a series of these. Mr. Crone, tell us about this particular item.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you. What this agreement serves to do is with BTEC Fire and Security Services. This agreement would replace the agreement we currently have with Courson Fire Protection. This covers our inspection and maintenance services for all our core building fire suppression systems, fire alarm panels, fire extinguishers, and the emergency and exit lighting. This is an agreement for 3 years and covers all the county core buildings downtown, as well as our outliers such as the highway garage, youth services, and emergency operations center.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Comments, questions, Commissioner Jones?
Just very nice to have you on board and taking care of all of these things, which sometimes slip past us before.
Appreciate that.
Commissioner Githens?
Yeah, this is good. And I know that a lot of the contracts in the past were through TSD, where you also had a hand in helping things. So really feel good about this.
Yeah,
it seems to be a good fit for everyone, so I think it'll work well.
Excellent. And we appreciate again that this is a local company that's been selected, and we know we've worked with them on various projects in the past, and so it's a great thing that you chose this particular company. So it's excellent work. Let's see if there's any public comment on this item. Simply raise your hand at the bottom of the Zoom screen, and it looks like Ms. Whitmer has her hand raised.
Yes, I just have one question. Is that next time when the contract is negotiated, if they could include all the Parks and Recreation fire extinguishers, that would be a tremendous help to us.
Okay, we can definitely look into that.
Excellent. Thank you for raising that. Does anybody else have a comment or question from the public or department head? All right. Seeing none, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the VTech Fire Security Services Agreement?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
Excellent. And item C, please.
Move to approve BTEC Emergency Signal or Panic Button Agreement. Fund name, lit special purpose, fund number 1114-40004-0068 in the amount of $2,962.78.
Second.
Great. We have a motion and a second. Would you tell us about this one, Mr. Crone?
Absolutely. This is for an agreement between us and BTEC Fire and Security to install 15 emergency signal or panic buttons, if you will, at various locations throughout the U shelter. Throughout history at the U shelter, there's been different times where altercations, things like that have come up in other parts of the building that staff wasn't aware. And with the addition of the building space that's been added and the blind spots it's created, it was deemed necessary to put in panic buttons to allow for extra security. So that way the staff is notified. They know that there's a situation going on in a portion of the building, or if additional 911 services need to be solicited. So this is a one-year agreement. It uses our network system rather than the telephone lines. So that eliminates the need for the additional phone service that we've had to pay traditionally in other panic button systems. It does have an initial hardware cost that's what's largely reflected here of that $2,962. $2,627 of it is for the hardware implementation. The actual monitoring of those lines for 12 months is only $335.40. So after this initial agreement, we will only see that annual monitoring small fee to add.
Excellent. Comments, questions, Commissioner Jones?
Yeah, will these panic buttons be available to the guests at the youth shelter?
They'll be available to the staff. What they've done is that they've located them in the common areas, in the meeting rooms, the new gymnasium, the entryway there by the reception area. So the common areas are covered. It's not going to be accessible by parents or the residents, but the staff will have immediate access to them. So there was a lot of thought given into where these buttons would be placed throughout the facility.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Commissioner Githens?
Sounds like an upgrade to what's been there. Thank you.
Yeah, great plan, great idea. Appreciate the thoughtfulness about security and safety for everyone in the building. Let's see if there's any public comment or questions on this item. Just simply raise your hand at the bottom of the Zoom screen. Seeing none, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the VTech Emergency Signal Panic Button Agreement?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
Move to approve BTEC Fire Alarm System Monitoring, Fund Name County General, Fund Number 1000-36012-0161 in the amount of $18,486.40.
Second.
Great, we have a motion and a second, and would you tell us about this one, Mr. Crum, please?
Absolutely. This kind of goes hand in hand with item B that we discussed earlier. This is for the actual fire alarm system monitoring, the 911 response for fire services. This replaces the existing agreement we have with Coorson for the alarm system monitoring. There is an initial hardware install. They will need to change over hardware from the Coorson hardware to their own. It's $2,200. That's a one-time fee. The rest of it that you see on there is for the actual monitoring. So $16,286.40 is for the actual 3 years of alarm system monitoring. And that's all there is to that.
Great. Comments, questions, Commissioner Jones?
No.
Commissioner Githens?
No, it's good to have this in place.
Makes a lot of sense. I appreciate that that's a 3-year contract. It's a smart thing. Let's see if there's any public comments on this item. Just simply raise your hand at the bottom of the Zoom screen. It looks like Ms. Ridge, did you have a comment or question?
Does that include highway on Kirby Road? It's not listed in the description, so I just want to make sure.
Yes, this is still all the core buildings and the outliers as before. So yes.
That's great.
Right, we didn't leave you out. Excellent. All right, good question. And I don't see any other public comment. Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the BTEC fire alarm system monitoring?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
Thank you, Mr. Carone. You're doing
Thank
great
you,
work.
Erin.
We appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Next item, please.
Move to approve an agreement with Diane Henschel for risk assessment, fund number name 2019 GO bond, fund number 4812, in an amount not to exceed $8,000.
Second.
Great, we have a motion and a second. Mr. Cockrell, will you tell us all about this?
Yes, if you all recall, we had some phase 1 and phase 2 reports done at the quarry properties, the properties that we're looking at to purchase. We're having Ms. Henschel, who is an expert in this and works at IU, look at those with some of her students and staff to determine if the levels in those reports, what that means. In addition, they are going to look at doing some small additional testing in the areas that they have determined needed it. I reached out to Vet Environmental, who did the phase 1 and phase 2, to determine if those tests would be helpful, and they indicated that would be something that would gain information towards the project. So this contract has an hourly rate for Ms. Henschel and her assistants, but it also includes that additional testing, which will probably run between $1,000 to $2,000. All that is covered by the $8,000 not to exceed amount.
Great, thank you so much. Comments, questions, Commissioner Jones?
Took a while to get here, but I'm glad it's moving forward.
Yeah, Commissioner Githens?
Yeah, I consider this part of the public safety work that the county does. So I'm pleased to see it.
Absolutely. Thank you for getting this this completed. It's exciting to consider getting more information and possibly moving forward with this project. It's nice to have something to look forward to at the what we hope is the end of the pandemic era. Let's see if there's any public comment on this item or questions. And we have Mr. Askins at B Square Beacon.
Good morning, commissioners. Can you hear me?
We sure can. Good morning.
Good morning. I wanted to try something that might well push past the boundaries of normal Midwestern politeness, but I'm sure you will let me know if I have. This parcel that's going to be inspected. In the 2017 annexation plan by the city of Bloomington, this parcel would become a part of the city of Bloomington. And about 5 minutes ago, Bloomington's mayor, John Hamilton, announced that that process would now be resuming, which I'm guessing you got some kind of heads up about. So I'm wondering, does this project, is it going to be affected at all by its status as inside the city of Bloomington versus outside the city of Bloomington at all? So that's the question. And I understand if you would say, well, gosh, that's, you know, that's not really on the topic of the item, but I figured I would give it a try anyway. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Mr. Askins. Mr. Cockrell, do you want to address that question?
Well, I will the best of my ability. How about that? I think and I'm taking the question to be if this property was annexed, how would that affect kind of the future plannings of what would happen there? And I guess my initial reaction is it would not really affect how the end product would be, but it may affect some of the procedures to get to that end project, and that it would become under the city planning and zoning. I would note that this area is currently part of a PUD, and so we'd have to work through those issues. But we'll have to work through those issues with either the city or the county plan commission either way. As far as uses and things like that, that's what we would discuss at those with the plan commission. I really don't think at the end of the day it would affect the end project, because I think the questions that would be asked by either plan commission would be the ones that would be considered and help guide how the end use of that property would be.
All right, very good. That's a good answer. My colleagues have anything they want to add?
No.
No. Yeah, it doesn't impact ownership. It just changes annexation, changes the planning process. But this is something we want to do to ensure that we have a full and complete understanding of what's on the property and what potential risks there may be with the property on a number of fronts. So excellent. Thank you for that, Mr. Askins. And anyone else have public comments? And seeing none, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the agreement with Diane Henschel for risk assessment?
Commissioner Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
You are muted.
Yes, sorry.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
Great. Thank you so much. And we will move on to item F, please.
Move to approve ordinance 2021-12 to amend ordinance 86-12 and no trucks 89-01.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, Ms. Ridge.
Hello again. So these items were presented to our Traffic Commission Board on April 15th, and they were approved unanimously. The truck ordinance is basically a no truck location for Mount Carmel Road, Wolf Mountain Road, and Little Wolf Mountain Road. We've received numerous complaints for the quarry traffic, and when the trucks and the semis put that into their GPS, it takes them on the shortest route of using these roads instead of taking a state road like 46 to Steinsville Road that is built to handle more of that traffic, truck traffic. The yield sign location is at Bottom Road eastbound for Liberty Hollow Road. And all of these signs are warranted also by the MUTCD that we follow, the Indiana Manual for a manual on uniform traffic control devices.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Comments, questions, Commissioner Jones?
No, I don't.
Commissioner Giffens?
No, thanks for looking out for the roads and for the safety of our residents, basically, also.
Absolutely. Yeah, both at the same time. Good point. Let's see if there's any public comment on this item. And seeing none, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on ordinance 2021-12?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Giffens.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
Great. Thank you. And next item, please.
Move to approve on-call agreement with Christopher B. Burke Engineering
I
LLC.
think this was supposed to be tabled.
Fund name, Stormwater, fund number 1197, in an amount that is not applicable.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Ms. Rich?
So I think I would like to request if you could table this contract. When I was out last week, I believe Dave Schilling was still having some modifications to this contract. And that is my error for not getting that pulled
Okay.
at the beginning of the meeting.
Did you want to postpone this a week?
Yeah, I think that should work. I don't want to tie Dave's hands. I'm just now looking at it, and it just came to my mind that I think there were still some revisions that was to be
Okay.
worked out. I guess if you
So-
wanted to approve it to subject to approval to Dave, legal review, but there's no dollar amounts tied to it. It's an on-call agreement, so it's just an as-needed contract. So there's and it was
Let's-
discussed at the April. So however you guys want to handle it.
Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and make a motion that we continue this item until
Okay.
our May 5th meeting.
Great,
Second.
thank you.
All right, we have a motion and we have a second. Any other comments or notes from my colleagues? Okay, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on continuing item G until May 5th?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Giffens.
Yes.
Item is continued until May 5th.
All right, thank you. Item H, please.
Move to approve Hitchcock Design Group for roundabout landscaping on Fullerton Pike. Fund name 2019 GO Bond, fund number 4612, in the amount of $19,300.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second, and this is an exciting one. Ms. Ridge, tell us all about it.
So yes, I agree. The county commissioners and highway staff have been working with a select group of citizens that live in the vicinity of this area. And we've been working on options for the new roundabout at Gordon Pike and Roger Street, and then also the roundabout that will be installed at Bachelor Drive and Gordon Pike. So we put out RFPs to seek landscaping architectural assistance for this project. And I believe there were 7 of us that reviewed all of the RFPs that we received, and it was unanimous that Hitchcock Design Group was overwhelmingly chosen from all the scores to be the firm that we select to move forward with this.
Excellent. Let's see if there are comments or questions. Commissioner Jones?
Just that it's going to be very exciting to see what they come up with. I heard some preliminary talk about it, and it's going to be fun to see how we do this.
Yeah, it's a really good involved committee, and there's been different ideas thrown out from limestone to colors, and so they're looking at all avenues. So it'll be great to have a professional on board to give us a good guidance on maintenance and longevity of it, and making it attractive for the area down there.
Excellent. Commissioner Giffens, comments, questions?
Yeah, I really appreciated the scoring system that you put into place to make this decision.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so these are our first county roundabouts. So I think it's important to get off on the right foot. And you know, I love the idea of sort of tying these two together on the same road and kind of creating a theme and working with area residents is so important because they will be seeing it every day, and they, you know, it's important that it reflects who they are and their aspirations. So I think it's going to be a great project, and I'm excited to see what we get out of it. Very good. Let's see if there's any public comments on this item. And seeing none, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on Hitchcock Design Group contract for roundabout landscaping on Fullerton?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
Excellent. Thank you. And now we have our two newly added items, and we'll go to item I, please.
Move to approve agreements for appraisal, county name, county general, fund number 1,000 in the amount of $5,100.
I believe there was a correction to the amount. Is that, it should be 5,150, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's something I missed because I didn't have my phone.
Yep.
Yeah, second.
Okay. So the amount of $5,150. Mr. Cockrell, will you please tell us all that?
Yes, I think this is kind of, my mind's worked between COVID and pre-COVID and COVID days. This is something we've talked about pre-COVID, in that we had talked with a lot of people, and we have talked with especially Habitat for Humanity about the Thompson site. And so we were exploring on what we can do with that. And so we were talking about that pre-COVID, and now, you know, these appraisals are for that property to kind of give us an idea of what it's worth and to kind of help us think through the ultimate uses of that property and how we should move forward with whatever we determine we want to happen there. So this is just one step in the process to try to figure out what to do with that property.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Comments, questions, Commissioner Jones?
No, I don't.
Commissioner Githens?
Sorry. No, I appreciate the fact that Mr. Cockrell went out and found two good appraisers, and also that the work of county government doesn't stop in the midst of a pandemic.
And I would just note that I went to talk to Judy Sharp to figure out who we should get to do the appraisers. We got 4 quotes, and these were the 2 lowest quotes.
Excellent. Great. Thank you so much. Let's see if there's any public comments or questions on this particular item. Just raise your hand at the bottom of the Zoom screen. Okay. Seeing none, I'll come back for Mr. Cockrell. Would you please call the roll on the agreements for appraisals?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
Okay. And next item, please.
Move to approve ordinance 2021-18 and an ordinance regarding the local health order.
Second.
Right. We have a motion and we have a second. Mr. Cockrell.
Yes, this ordinance is in reaction to the Senate Bill 5 that's been approved but not signed yet by the governor. Part of that legislation indicates that any local health order that's more stringent than the governor's executive order has to be approved by the county legislative body in this case, or it will not continue on. I believe that the governor has not signed that, but in order to avoid any gaps in the effectiveness of that local health regulation, we would like to get this approved prior to that action happening. I think this is a case where I would applaud our local health department and Penny Caudill who kept the Board of Commissioners up to date with all the discussions and everything going along. So I don't think that this is a difficult task for you. The other part of the legislation requires an appeals process to be in place for people who want to appeal the health enforcement action. That is not part of this ordinance, but we're hoping to have that to you next week. So we'll have the full package, but we really don't want a gap in the effectiveness of the health order.
Makes a great deal of sense. Excellent. Comments, questions, Commissioner Jones?
Just thank you for being proactive with this.
Yeah. Commissioner Giffens?
Yeah, and thank you for working with us and with the health department and staying on top of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I just, I agree, Mr. Cockrell, that we do need to thank the hardworking health board, our the staff at the health department, Ms. Cottle, Dr. Sharp, everybody's just worked so hard to be transparent, to work with the public, to work with various organizations and businesses. I know Ms. Rice has had a large role in this as well. So yeah, this is absolutely a no-brainer for me. I absolutely support the work of our health department, and they've been smart, driven by science and data, and that's how it needs to be. This should never be politicized, yet that's apparently what the state legislature believes should happen, and I don't agree with that at all. So let's leave it to the experts. So let's see if there's any public comments or questions on this item. Ms. Cottle, did you want to add anything?
I would just say thank you very much. I hope that you will approve it. Again, we just want the changes to be seamless and not confuse the public any more than I know that things change fast and it can be confusing anyway. Don't want to add another layer of confusion.
No, that's a great point. And I think to your comment, it's worth noting that this is not changing the health order in any way. It's just sort of reifying the orders that currently exist in Monroe County based on the requirements of Senate Bill 5, which may be signed at any day. So I'm glad you said that. And thank you again for all your hard work. Mr. Shelton.
Good morning again. Jim Shelton, this time speaking for the Chamber of Commerce. We encourage you to approve this. We totally concur and applaud and offer kudos to the efforts of Ms. Cottle and her staff. They have done a fabulous job. And thank you for looking ahead, Jeff, and having this thing in place. It is causing confusion. I'm encountering more frequently, not a lot, but still more frequently, people with no mask, either at the Y or at the Kroger's. And I think we need to keep doing what we're doing until this thing's totally gone. So please approve this, and thank you, Penny. And thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Mr. Shelton. All right. Anyone else? Does anyone else have any public comments or questions? Okay. Seeing none, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on ordinance 2021-18?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved 3-0.
Great. Thank you so much. And we don't have any appointments today, but we do have a very special announcement to begin our announcements. And I wonder if Commissioner Githens would start for us.
Sure. We have a proclamation with appreciation to Rita Bush. Whereas Rita Bush began working for Monroe County government on April 13th, 1987 in the probation department. And Ms. Bush established herself as a valuable staff member, proving herself invaluable to her coworkers and to the public of Monroe County, which resulted in her moving up in the ranks. and Ms. Bush eventually transitioned to the Monroe County Technical Services Department, where she has served as Monroe County's webmaster and training coordinator. And during her time as webmaster, Ms. Bush was instrumental in moving Monroe County to our current web platform, which allows for quicker dissemination of important news and data to the public of Monroe County, while simultaneously allowing county departments to have greater control of their web presence.
If I'm supposed to pick it up here, I'm afraid I did not get that message. And I don't have it.
That's okay. During the COVID-19 pandemic of 2020, Ms. Bush served tirelessly as she assisted in transitioning our county government to continue to bring services to the general public despite the looming health crisis. And in her 34 years of employment with Monroe County, she has become well known among her team members as someone with unflagging enthusiasm, positivity, congeniality, and diligence, as well as being absolutely fearless in her willingness to traffic in pun-based humor, something I greatly appreciate. Through consistent and dedicated community service, Ms. Bush has established herself as being a true leader in our community and representing always Monroe County in the best manner possible. So we are today proclaiming and expressing our gratitude and respect for Rita Bush for over 3 decades of exemplary service to Monroe County government and to the residents of Monroe County. We hereby deem it an honor, a pleasure, and a privilege to recognize her on this, the occasion of her retirement.
And I do wholeheartedly agree with this and completely support it. It's just one of the problems with not having a phone nowadays. There's actually a word for what you experience if you don't have your phone. I can't remember what it is, but
it's the missing out. But we are so grateful for your service. I will especially miss your sense of humor, but you have in a way served every single county employee. And that's something to be really proud of while serving the public and keeping the lines of communication open between the public and our various departments. So kudos, thank you. We will miss you greatly, but best wishes for a great retirement because you've earned a good rest. All right. And with that, I am going to go on to the more mundane business of other announcements. And I'm posting something right now into the chat. And this is a final plea for support from the community because a Friday night to Saturday morning, the Monroe County Board of Commissioners will be sleeping out to raise funds and awareness for people experiencing homelessness in our county and community. And because of COVID, we are going to be sleeping out virtually and in our backyards, living room floors. For me, it may be on a wonky lawn chair outside in the cold in Michigan. But proceeds from the event this year support Beacon's overnight shelter, Friends Place, and we wholeheartedly ask you to consider supporting us. We have a huge goal and we would love to meet it with our community's help. I posted the link inside the chat so that you can find your way to donate to Beacon Shalom for this great and worthy cause. And we thank you for considering that. Also important to note is well, let me get this here. There we go. So we also have a deadline on Friday for our CARES funding for businesses and social service organizations in our community who need assistance with COVID-related non-payroll expenses that have not been covered through other programs. To date, in 2021 for 2020 to 2021, we have provided $881,265 in funding for, and those are grants, not loans, direct funding for businesses and social service organizations in our community. But Friday is the deadline. The program will be closing on Friday. And so if you need assistance, please, please, please get that paperwork in as soon as possible. Typically, there's a little bit of back and forth to make sure that all the appropriate receipts are included, or that all the documents are completed appropriately. So don't wait till the last minute. Please submit that request as soon as possible this week. And again, the deadline is Friday. You can go to co.monroe.in.us to find the information. Also, please note that we've worked with the council to provide township assistance funding. And this is available to any resident in our county. Every county resident lives in a township, whether you live in the city, a town, or not. Please contact your township trustee if you need assistance with the necessities like utilities and rent. You can find at co.monroe.in.us. The emergency management page has a full list, contact list of each of the township trustees. And you will also find it appended to the end of our minutes each and every week. If you need assistance, please contact your trustee as soon as possible. We have so far provided $80,683 in direct funding to 148 households in our community. We're so proud of this. We are grateful for the work of our township trustees. And so please, if you need assistance, contact them. Does anyone else have any additional announcements that you wish to make?
No.
No? Okay. So with that, our next meeting is May 5th, 2021, 10 a.m. right here on the Zoom channel. We have a kind of a packed work session agenda. So it's 11:10 now. So we'd like to reconvene at 11:15 if we might. Is that okay with everyone? Good, 11:15?
I might be a minute or two late.
Okay, do you want 11:20?
That would work a little better.
Great.
I need to check on employees.
No problem, 11:20. We will come back for our work session and we will see you all then. Again, thank you all so very much. Thank you, Mr. Evans. Thank you, Ms. Dayton. We are adjourned.